Hello YouTube, this is Callum from EnglishShooting. Now I usually like to do my review videos outdoors with the gun set in front of me at all times so that you can see it, but I'm having to do this video indoors because it's extremely windy outside, and I'm having to do the video tonight because I'm actually selling this gun. Now I thought I'd do something a little bit different. Because I'm selling the gun, I thought I would do a final review and basically condense the 2 years that I've owned this gun into one video. I have already done sort of an initial review of this gun when I had owned it very recently and actually first started the channel, but that was about 1.5 years ago, and I feel that, you know, I can actually give a lot more information and opinion on the gun than I could have about 1.5 years ago. So as the video states, this is the Sako Quad, and many of you will know that its main feature is the interchangeable barrels. This is a 2.2 long rifle barrel. I've never actually used the other calibers, but it can come in the 2.2 long rifle, 2.2 WMR, 1.7 HMR and 1.7 Mach 2. That gives you an enormous capability, gives you, for a small caliber rifle, you can pretty much have a barrel for any job that you need doing, and it makes it very, very multi-purpose and versatile. Also, the versatility of the rifle comes in the choice of stock and barrels, barrel thicknesses as well. So you can get it in the synthetic, and then you've got the two options of either a thin barrel or a varmint sort of target rifle barrel. This is actually the thinner barrel. You then have the choice of a wood stock, and again you have the choice of the thinner or thicker varmint barrel. And then you also have the Sako Quad range, which is pretty much a dedicated target rifle, and it's got a very nice stock on it designed for very accurate target shooting in the range, hence the name. So between the stocks and the barrels, you can pretty much arrange the gun for exactly the task you need it to do. The gun itself, the features on this one, as I said, it's the synthetic stock and it's got the thinner barrel on it. On my barrel, I've got the screw cut muzzle, so I can put a moderator on there. That's a cracking little feature. Talking about it being synthetic and the thin barrel, it makes the gun incredibly light. You can just wield it with basically a few fingers. It feels almost like toy weight. There really is no weight to it, and it makes this sort of setup perfect for hunting and carrying around a field all day. Of course, the synthetic stock, you don't have to worry about rain or the environment with it. This setup, a perfect little hunting setup. Unfortunately, I've only ever really used it for target shooting, but it's still done the job absolutely perfectly. Working your way down the barrel, you can see, and you know, on the stock here, you see that you've got sling attachments. Unfortunately, there is just the one at the front, so you can only put either a bipod or the sling, or you have to get an attachment to then be able to put the sling on the bipod. Not a huge problem. I've only ever used it for the bipod, so it's done more than enough for the purpose that I needed it for. Then obviously getting to the end of the barrel, you've got to talk about the change mechanism. The barrel can be changed over so easily. There's just a little hole underneath in the stock. Now if you get a spare barrel, it will come with an Allen key. You put that in, unscrew it, and the barrel will come straight out. It really is simple and can be done in under a minute. You can barrel change it under a minute. Now, one of the biggest questions I get about this gun is whether that mechanism is dampening the performance, whether you're sacrificing the accuracy and performance of the rifle. Now, okay, if you use different calibers, your 0 point is going to be off. You can't expect to have the same, you know, point of aim for a 1.7 HMR and a 2.2 long rifle. But I have taken the barrel off of this numerous times for transportation to be able to put it inside a suitcase. And I've taken the barrel off and then put it on, and it's held its 0 perfectly. And that's just a testament to how well these guns are made and how well engineered they are. To be able to do that, that's pretty impressive. So working down the action, on top you've got standard rails for your scope mounts. Any gun shop worth its salt is going to have mounts for these rails. It's just a standard groove rail, no Picatinny here, slightly less tactical than what I'm usually used to, but again just perfect, bog standard, holds on solid. I don't think I've ever had to adjust, tighten these mounts at all. It's held perfectly. I've got a Hawk 3x9 which I found was perfect for the distances that I'd be using this gun, but obviously you can put a better scope on there if you want. The sort of action itself, the bolt, I think that's one of the smaller gripes that I have with the gun, although it's minuscule in overall how much I like the gun. I found the bolt to be fairly stiff. It's a nice solid, you can feel that it's well made. I just found that when you're in prone, or even if you were holding it for, say, a hunting shot, I just found it just, you end up twisting the rifle. Okay, I'm over exaggerating that, but I just found that you just got to apply a little bit more force than I would have wanted to. I would have liked it to have been a little bit smoother. And also I found the bolt handle just to be a little piddly. Like, I haven't got the biggest of hands, but I always felt like I was just playing around with it with just a couple of fingers. I would have liked something a little bit more to have grabbed on. The bolt itself does have a cocked indicator. There's a red dot that basically appears when you put the bolt down. It protrudes. Now, it's quite hard when you're holding it like you would when you shoot it. It's hard to see that has actually poked out. You do actually have to look on top of the rifle to see. Talking about it being cocked as well, you can decock the rifle. You just open up the bolt, hold down the trigger and push the bolt down. As simple as that. The indicator's gone in, indicating that it's no longer cocked. Around the action around the bolt as well, you have your safety. It's one of the smallest safeties that I've had on my rifles. However, I have to say that it's a lovely feeling mechanism. The Remington 700, although it's got a bigger safety and it's easier to get on, this is actually quite a low profile safety. It feels, the Remington 700 safety feels really, really clunky, and really quite just, there's no finesse to it at all. Whereas this, it's just a nice solid click and you know, like almost just tick and tack. It's just nice and smooth, and again, you can feel that it's well made. To remove the bolt as well, you've just got this little button on the side. You just push that in and the bolt will come straight out. And you just put the bolt straight back in and close it. There you go. It's just really simple, pretty much bog standard like any other rifle, but again, all the components feel well made. It's all metal apart from obviously the stock and the bolt handle itself, which is plastic. The trigger itself, I have to say that's one of the best parts of this rifle. It's an absolutely unbelievably good stock trigger, and I would go as far to say it's the best stock trigger I've felt on a rifle for a very long time, and certainly the best stock trigger I have on any of the rifles that I own. It's just an absolute like hairline trigger. It's not too light, but it's light enough so you can get some absolutely superb accuracy out of this gun, and also it just breaks like glass. I know that's a phrase that's used quite a lot, but it really is just a absolutely just, it's just a really, really good trigger. And I think, again, talking about the accuracy, it's just, the whole rifle as a package is just superb. You really can put bullet through bullet with this. And you have to go quite a long way to find something that will beat the Sako Quad. And I think the trigger is the main part behind that. At the bottom of the action, you obviously have your mag well. There is a choice of 2 magazines. You have a 5-round magazine and a 10-round magazine. Now, I did actually make a video about the 10-round magazine, in the fact that it didn't work. If you put anything more than, I think it was about 8 rounds, it just jammed up, or you had to sit there and be incredibly careful how you filled it up. However, the 5-round was absolutely perfect, so I would say avoid the 10 round because you don't actually get the use out of the 10 round. I would have just bought another, if I'd have known, I'd just bought another 5 round, because that's what I've ended up using most of the time, because obviously the 10 round, you know, it's just a bit awkward to use. That's been a 50-50 thing between shooters. Some people have that issue with the 10 rounds, some people don't. I just guess if you're lucky or not, basically. The magazine, if you know, obviously you've got your magwell there, it slots right in. The 5 round magazine is flush on the stock, so you can't really see anything inside it. To get the magazine out, there's this button in front of the magazine. You push that or pull that towards the magazine and it will just drop out. That's a completely empty magazine, and of course it's the lightest, being the 5, and it will just drop out. Moving down to the back of the rifle and the end of the stock, obviously you've got the second mount under there. It is a very thin stock, and it is a very smooth plastic and a very hard solid plastic butt pad. Now if it was a larger caliber rifle, I think you would have a lot of problems with that. It would really hurt. As it's a 2.2, and of course, you know, the other calibers aren't exactly large, it doesn't matter. It is enjoyable to shoot. There's no pain, of course, because there's no recoil. The slipperiness of the plastic is something that I would have preferred something a little bit grippier. Of course, on these sort of surfaces, it doesn't matter, but when you're holding the rifle, or where you'd be holding the rifle, just like the Remington 700, I would have preferred sort of rubber inserts at least. There are some grooved patterns on the synthetic, but I do find it very slippery. And actually trying to put it in my gun vise normally, I can clamp it in and pick the vise up with the rifle. This just slides out, and I would imagine being out in the wet, you may find it a bit slippery. Overall, I think this is a absolutely cracking rifle. My opinion of it has not changed in the slightest since when I first got it. I've, you know, got to know its flaws, or the flaws that I think are there, and its pros a little bit more, but overall I think it's incredibly hard to beat this as a 2.2 or small caliber rifle. The reason I'm selling it has absolutely nothing to do with the rifle. It's all to do with the shooter. I'm just not using it enough. When I go down the range, there's just other guns that I want to shoot more. If I was to get or suddenly have a need for a 2.2 bolt action or small caliber bolt action, I would not think twice about picking up the Sako Quad again. It's performed brilliantly, it's done absolutely everything I've asked for it, and every rifle, when you've owned them for a year or two, will have its little niggles, and I think that the little niggles of this are so minute in comparison to the overall, say, brilliance of the rifle, that it's just not, you know, worth thinking about. So I really hope that you found this video interesting. I hope that you found it useful. As always, thank you very much for watching this video, and I do hope to see you soon.